to start with our feet. We're going to start using the ball for our feet. So pop it down on the floor. Remember, you can always go near a wall or something if you need to hold on to something for balance, and then you're just going to roll out your foot. So just go nice and slowly and really deliberately, and try and roll out as much of your foot as you can. So really get from the base of your toes all the way to your heel. Okay, so and make sure that you're covering like the inside edge of your foot and the middle of the foot and the outside edge. So we tend to avoid areas that have a lot of tension. So try and make sure that you are getting everywhere. And then roll your foot forward so that your toes can come down onto the floor. And then pressing your heel into the ball. And you can just go slight side to side, rolling out your heel. And then bring your foot back the other way, get your heel down so that your toes are over the ball. And let's apply a little bit of pressure at the base of the toes. So right at the base of the toes, if you apply pressure there, can you see the knuckle of your toe pop up? And just have a look at that and notice, because quite often, just because of the way that we use our feet and the shoes that we wear, our knuckles kind of sink in a little bit. So quite often your second toe, you kind of can't see that knuckle there. So have a look at yours and just notice, and make sure you've kind of gone all the way along and press right at the base of each toe. And then you're just going to roll out your foot again. So go a little bit more quickly now, get a little bit of circulation going. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So when you're ready, step that foot down. But take a minute first to notice if it feels different on this side to the other side. So quite often, the foot that you've rolled out, I know that we only did it very quickly, but quite often the foot will feel much flatter, more in contact with the floor. But what I love the most is if you look at your feet, the one that you've rolled out will be a much better colour than the other one, because you've really boosted your circulation there. So I just think that's really, really good. Just do the same on the other side then. So again, really deliberately rolling out your foot, making sure you get all the length of your foot. And making sure that you don't miss any areas, so get right along your inside edge, all the way through the middle of the foot, and then all along that outside edge. I just think of it like, you know, you're hoovering your carpet and you kind of go in a line and then a line, and kind of that's how I do my feet. And then again, you're going to roll your foot forward so that your heel is on the ball, pressing your heel into the ball, and you can roll your foot slightly side to side there. Good. Heels can be quite tender as well, so just go as gentle as you need to. And then roll your foot the other way so that your heel is down, and then again you're going to press right at the base of the toes, and have a look again at those toe knuckles and see whether any of them have kind of sunk down. And can you apply a little bit of pressure there and just get a little bit of release through the toes. Again, making sure you move all the way along and you've got all of them. And then give it a good roll out. Again, getting that circulation going, give your foot a quick roll. Okay, and then step that foot down. And again, just have a little look, have a little feel, just notice if you've released any tension and whether your feet feel a little bit more flat and relaxed. So just make sure you're not going to trip over your ball. We're going to do a little bit of toe mobility now. So looking down at your toes, can you lift and spread all of your toes? And sometimes it helps if you do fingers as well. I don't know, they're connected. And then place your toes down. Let's do that a couple more times. So you're lifting and spreading all of your toes, and then you're placing them down. And again, lift and spread. Place them down. So noticing if it's different one side to the other. Now can you lift just your big toe and all the other toes stay down? Then can you lift your second toe as well as the big toe, then your third toe, fourth toe, and little toe. So all toes are up, and then we're going to go the other way this time. So a little toe goes down first, and the fourth toe, third, second toe, and big toe. Do that a couple more times. So again, you're just really playing with the mobility of your feet and trying to see whether they move the same, whether you have any toes that want to move together. And again, this is really good for your circulation of your feet, for building the strength of the muscles of your feet, and for the mind-body connection, kind of knowing what's happening with your body. Okay, we're going to go into our calf stretch now. So grab your half dome or your rolled up towel and make sure you pop that ball to one side. We'll be using that again later on. So grab your half dome and pop it down. So ball of the foot towards the top of the dome, heel down onto the floor, and then stepping your other leg to about hip width apart. Remember, we want to keep all our weight through the leg that's on the dome, because that's the leg that we're releasing the calf. And then, as always, check in for tension. So check your jaw, neck and shoulders, where your ribs are. Let the ribs relax down. Notice if you're really gripping through your thighs, can you let your thighs relax? And just take some deep breaths there. And once that initial stretch has started to ease a little bit, can you step your other leg a little bit further forwards? And if you can't, that's okay. Just holding there. I have to say the calf stretch is probably the best release that you can do for your whole body, because it affects everything. It affects not only your feet, but the mobility of your ankle joint, the calf, the hamstring, and all the way up. And once you've kind of got those into really good alignment and the length that they should be, it's much easier then to correct other imbalances in the body. So if you were only going to do one thing every day, this would be the one. Let's do the other side. Again, get the ball of your foot towards the top of your dome, heel down on the floor, and then step your other leg to about hip width apart. Is it different on this side? Again, just checking in. And then again, notice jaw, neck and shoulders. Check the ribs. Weight is back through the leg that's on the dome. And you're trying to keep your weight really in that heel, so you're trying not to completely crush the top of the dome with your toes. You're trying to keep the weight much more in the heel. And again, once that has eased a little bit, maybe see if you can step that other leg a little bit further forwards. And if it makes you feel like you're falling, just bring it back. It doesn't matter, there's no rush to get that leg forwards. It needs to be where your body is right now. Just a couple more breaths here. And then again, we're going to come back to this in a minute, so keep your half dome really handy. Let's go to the top of the foot stretch next. So you're going to take your leg back and tuck your toes under. Remember, you can hold on to something if you need to. Try and get that leg as straight as you can. It's really tempting to kind of let it sag and bend at the knee, so try and get that leg as straight as you can. Notice if it's making you lean forwards. Can you stand upright there? Let's switch and do the same on the other side. So the other leg goes back. Again, tuck your toes. Make sure you're not clenching your teeth. Let your jaw relax. Coming out of that, let's go back to our half dome again. So we're going to do the soleus stretch, which is our second kind of calf muscle stretch. I want to turn sideways. So set yourself up in the same position as before. So ball of the foot to the top of the dome, heel down, hip width apart. Don't go too far forwards to begin with. Let's just go for hip width apart. And then this time, to reach that soleus muscle, we're going to bend the knees. So you can bend both knees, but you're really aiming for the knee that's on the half dome, or the leg that's on the half dome. And just give it a slight bend, and you'll feel how the stretch changes, and it's fine to lean forwards a little bit with this one. Otherwise you might fall over. We don't need to be falling over. So you can kind of play with that a little bit and feel that difference. So when you're standing straight, it's hitting the gastrocnemius muscle, and then when you bend the knees, it's kind of going a little bit lower and it's coming more down. You can kind of feel how it just changes that stretch. And you'll often find that you need one more than the other, and it's usually the one that you don't like is the one that you need. And for me, that's this one. Let's do the same on the other side. So again, just get yourself set up into your same position. And then bending your knees. Again, this is working on the mobility of your ankle as well, which is always a good thing. Just have a look at your feet, out of interest, and notice whether your feet are turning out a little bit, because as we know, our body, to get around tension, it will kind of deform. So are both of your feet still pointing straight, or has one or both of them turned out? You don't have to change it particularly, but just notice that that's your body's coping mechanism. And it's something that we can kind of play with going forwards. Okay, come on out of that. Let's go for a double calf stretch now. So we're going to have both feet onto the dome this time. Ball of the foot to the top of the dome, heel down, and then we're hinging forwards from the hips. You can rest your hands on your thighs if you want to here. Sticking your bottom out behind you. And just hold here for a couple of breaths. Alright, when you're ready, come up and out of that. So we're going to get rid of the half dome now, pop it to the side so you're not going to fall over it. And we're going to come down onto our mat now. So just taking a moment here to let your spine settle into the mat. Just letting go of any tension. Just take a moment to kind of tune in with your breath. So just take some deep breaths here. Focus on that lateral breathing. So making sure that as you breathe, there's some movement around the rib cage. Can you feel your rib cage expanding out to the sides? And also front to back. It's that 3D breath. So just spend a few moments here. That deep breathing. And then from there, we're just going to bring both knees into your chest, give your knees a little hug, and just rock gently side to side. Just releasing any tension from your lower back. And then keep hold of your right leg and let your left leg come back down onto the floor. So that left leg can be bent or straight, whichever feels better for you. Pulling your right knee in towards you, let's get a deep stretch into that hip joint to begin with. And then we're going to straighten that leg up towards the ceiling. Get it as straight as you can. And then let's point and flex our foot here. So again, thinking about movement at the ankle joint, how much movement have you got through the front of your ankle? And then can you circle your foot around in one direction? And then reverse that and go the other way. And then pull that knee back into your chest, give it a good stretch. Really pull it in as deep as you can. Notice as you pull your knee in, is your bottom wanting to lift? Is your pelvis tilting back? Try and keep your pelvis in that neutral position, bottom anchored, and pull the leg in towards you. Really working on our range of motion at the hip. And then we're going to switch legs and do the same on the other side. So bringing the other knee in. Again, pulling it in towards you. Same thing here, trying to keep that neutral pelvis. We're not letting the pelvis tilt back and not letting your bottom lift out of the mat. And then straighten your leg up towards the ceiling. Get that leg as straight as you can, and let's point and flex here. And then again, let's do our little foot circles. And switch and go the other way as well. And then pulling your knee into your chest again. Let's get really deep into that hip again. Bottom's anchored, pelvis is neutral, and we're really getting a deep stretch, really deep fold. Okay, so from here, grab your strap. Let's do the strap stretch next while we're working on our legs. And then you're going to place your strap at the base of your toes. Lengthen your free leg out long on the mat. And then the leg in the strap wants to be as straight as possible. So get that leg super straight. And really pull the front of the foot towards you. So again, it's getting that stretch down the back of the leg that's in the strap. And this is the tension that we're releasing down the back of that leg. So just hold for a couple of breaths. And then bring that leg across your body, working into your outer hip. You've always got the option of staying in centre if it doesn't feel good to come across. Sometimes if your hips are a little bit not happy, they might not like this position. And then bringing your leg back in through centre, let's take it out to the other side. Slightly turn your leg out from the hip, take your leg out to the side. Remember, it's only going to go out as far as you can maintain that level, stable pelvis. Don't let the other hip lift. And this is stretching and releasing the inner thigh this time. When you're ready, bring that leg back into centre. Now we're going to go into happy baby from here. So your other leg can stay straight or you can give it a bend. And then the leg in the strap, you're going to pull it down towards you. And you're trying to get, remember, that shin as vertical as you can. Sole of the foot flat towards the ceiling. And you can either hold onto your strap or you can use your hand and hold onto the outside edge of your foot. If you need to, you can take your knee slightly out to the side, but make sure you take the foot with it as well, so the ankle is directly over the knee. You don't want to have your knee out and your foot coming in. Alright, and then notice again here, have you tilted your pelvis back towards you? Have you lifted your bottom off the mat? Can you try and get that neutral level pelvis, tailbone anchored into the mat? And if you can't, it doesn't matter, but know that that's where you're heading. So you don't want to be really tilting that pelvis towards you and really lifting your bottom because you're really trying to get the other way. And then feel free to give the back of that leg a little rub, give that hamstring a little bit of attention, roll it out a little bit maybe. Alright, when you're ready, straighten that leg back out again and we're going to switch and pop the strap onto the other leg. So then again, your free leg is going to be out long on the mat. Leg in the strap is super straight and pull the front of the foot towards you as much as you can. Let that leg just be super heavy, so it's just hanging there in the strap. You're not using your muscles of your thigh to hold it up there. We're going to bring that leg across your body if it feels good, if it's not good. I mean, that good is a bit of a stretch, but if it feels okay, bring that leg across your body. Let's get a stretch into your outer hip, outer thigh. and bring your leg back into centre, slightly turn it out and take it out to the side. Maintaining that level pelvis. Remember, we don't want the opposite hip, excuse me, to lift. And then when you're ready, bring that leg back into centre. So we're going to do that little happy baby or half happy baby on this side. So you can bend your free leg if you wish, and then pull the leg in the strap down towards you. Again, we're aiming for vertical shin, sole of the foot flat to the ceiling, and then either hold your strap or hold the outside edge of your foot. And if you need to, you can take your knee out a little bit wider, but take the foot with it. Noticing, is it the same here? So is it the same on both sides, or is it easier one side to the other? Check in with your pelvis again. Have you had to tilt your pelvis back towards you and lift your bottom to get here? And if you have, just start to think about trying to anchor and go back the other way. And if you want to, again, you can give the back of that thigh a little bit of a massage. Just trying to release any little knots there, any bits of tension that you might have on that hamstring. And then when you're ready, we're going to release that leg so you can get rid of your strap. Lower your leg down, and then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and take your knees out to the side into your cobbler stretch here. Good. Let's just stay here for a few breaths. So from here we're going to go into a spine twist. So we're going to pick our knees up, bringing our feet and knees together. We're going to keep our arms out to the side. So have your arms out in that T position. Palms are facing up towards the ceiling because it really opens out your chest and shoulders. When you're ready, take a breath in, and as you exhale, both knees roll to one side and head can turn the opposite way if that feels good. Inhale as you come through centre and exhale over to the other side. So let's just keep going here with the speed of your breath. Remembering to keep your shoulder blades anchored on the mat, so you're only going to take your knees over as far as you can maintain those shoulder blades and rib cage nice and still. From here we're going to go into our crocodile, so whichever side you're going to roll to next, allow your knees to roll all the way down to the floor, and we're going to roll onto our side. So we've got our knees bent, your bottom arm is going to go out in front and top arm is going to rest on top of that one. Now feel free to grab yourself a cushion or something if you need some support for your head. Have a quick look at your knees, make sure they're stacked one on top of the other so that your pelvis is level and you've not got that top hip rolled back. When you're ready, we're going to inhale, we're going to reach that top arm forwards, we're going to reach it up towards the ceiling, and then we're going to take it back behind us as far as you can without letting your knees lift away from the floor. Once you've gone as far as you can, you're just going to hold there for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, you're going to start to slowly bring your arm all the way back up and all the way over. Let's do that again. Reach the arm forwards as you inhale, reaching for the ceiling and open out. Go as far as you can and take a couple of breaths. ready, start to slowly bring your arm back up and over. Let's do one more on this side. And when you're ready, reach again, all the way. And then when you're ready, bring that arm all the way back up and over, closing your crocodile now. So roll onto your back and let's do the same on the other side. I'm just going to switch sides because it's easier for me. So again, knees are bent, bottom arm out long, top arm on top. Making sure again that your pelvis is level and your knees are together. When you're ready, you can go again. We're going to do 3 on this side as well. So reaching that top arm forwards and up and behind. Just go as far as you can, don't try and force anything. You should still be able to breathe and speak without straining. And when you're ready, slowly bring the arm all the way back up and over. Let's do 2 more. Just moving at your own pace, as feels right for you. And when you've finished all of those, you're just going to roll yourself gently onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest. Give your knees a little hug and just rock gently side to side. From here we're going to straighten our legs out long. Take our arms overhead and stretch, making ourselves as long as we can. And then we're going to go into our crescent stretch from here. So let's walk our feet to the right. And then walk your arms and upper body also to the right. Remember, you can stay here if that's enough, or you can cross your left ankle over your right. And then with your right hand, grab your left wrist and just give it a little pull so you're just increasing the stretch. And stay here and take some deep breaths. Think again about that 3D breath. Think about making your rib cage expand side to side, front to back. And you'll really feel it on that left side. When you're ready, release your arms first. Kind of just take the strain off. Uncross your legs and let's go to the other side. So walking your legs to the left this time. And then again, take your arms up and overhead and walk your arms and upper body also to the left. Stay here or cross your right ankle over your left. And with your left hand, you can grab your right wrist. Just give it a little pull. Remember, we're doing that big 3D breath. How much air can you get in? Take a really deep inhale, get as much air in as you can. And exhale it all. When you're ready again, release your arms first. Walk your legs back into centre. Bending the knees slowly, one at a time. Again, bring your knees into your chest, give your knees a little hug, and just rock gently side to side. Let's have one hand on the top of each knee now. I'm going to open the knees apart and circle around. Let's do about 5 little circles in each direction. And when you finish those, we're going to come up onto all fours next. So when you're ready, come on up, take your time. And we're going to come onto all fours. So making sure that your hand is directly under your shoulder and your knees are directly under your hips. We're going to do our cat-cow here. So take a breath and then tuck your tailbone under, rounding through your lower back, your middle back, your upper back. Your head is the last thing to move, so let your head just hang between your arms. Take a breath again, and as you exhale, we're going to go the other way this time. So stick your bottom out, roll through the lower back, the middle back, the upper back, and your head is the last thing to move. So let's do a few more there, just moving with the speed of your breath as you roll through the spine. Always starting at your tail and working your way to your head. As you come through centre this time, we're going to hold it there. We're going to go to thread the needle. We're going to stay up on our hands for this one. So you're going to take one hand, you're going to turn it over so the palm's facing up towards the ceiling, and you're going to thread it behind your opposite wrist. Allowing your upper body to twist, you can bring your shoulder and your ear down towards the mat if it will come down. Again, you can always grab a cushion here if you need to support your head, but you're reaching your other arm through and just pausing here for a breath. Then we're going to start to bring the arm back through. We're going to allow our body to twist, and we're going to twist and reach our arm up towards the ceiling this time, so twisting the other way. Let that arm come back down again. This time the hand is going to go down towards your knee, so instead of being behind your wrist, it's just in front of your knee. Again, allowing your shoulder and your ear to come down towards the mat. It doesn't have to come all the way down, but it can if you wish. Holding there just for a breath or two. And then we're going to come back through. And again, reaching your arm up towards the ceiling, twisting your body. We're going to do one more time. We're going to thread that arm through again. This time it's going to go behind the wrist again, but then up and forward, so diagonally forwards. Again, just hold for a couple of breaths there. And then when you're ready, we're just going to bring that arm back through and place it back down onto the mat. We're going to do the same on the other side. So again, other hand turns palm up, goes right behind the wrist, rotate your upper body and allow your shoulder and your ear to come down towards the mat if they will. And when you're ready, we're going to open out, reaching your arm up. And it's going to come back down again, down towards your knee this time. So hand just in front of your knee as you twist around. Again, bringing your shoulder and your ear down if you wish. Couple breaths. And then open out again. Reaching for the ceiling. And then last one is going to go again behind your wrist and then diagonally forwards. And it just changes the stretch. You can feel it in different areas of your upper back and shoulders. And you've always got the option to bolster here and use a cushion or a bolster even to place your head and shoulder on if it doesn't come all the way to the floor. And then just allow that hand to come back through. Place your hand back down onto the floor. Take your bottom back towards your heels into child's pose or that rest position. Reaching your arms forwards and just take a couple of breaths here. Remember, we want to take those deep breaths again. So really trying to feel your rib cage expanding as you take that deep breath in. And when you're ready, we're going to come back up onto all fours again. So we're going to go to our rhomboid push-ups this time. So fingers are spread wide. thumbs are pointing as much towards each other as you can, and then the inside of your elbow pit is going to point forwards. Okay, from here, shoulder blades are going to come together in your back, so let your chest drop down towards the mat, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then press into the mat and let your shoulder blades go wide. Let's do a few of those. Shoulder blades squeeze together, shoulder blades wide. Have your eyes looking down at the mat so that you've got length through the back of your neck and you're not kind of compressing and shortening the back of your neck. Let's do 2 more here. Good job. And then just come on off your wrists for a moment. Let's just give our wrists a little twirl around. And then go the other way. And then give them a good shake out. So we're going to go back onto all fours again. And we're going to do our Superman. So coming back onto all fours. Same thing, fingers spread wide, thumbs point towards each other, elbow pits are forwards. Now the first thing I want you to do here is to make sure that as you lift one hand off the floor, your shoulder's not collapsing, okay? So just kind of have a little play with lifting each hand in turn, maybe just do a few little cat pedals here, and try and keep your shoulder blades wide across your back, and still, see if you can keep them still so they're not shifting. And then once you're happy with that, we're going to reach one arm forwards and then we're going to lift that arm again, trying to maintain that nice stable shoulder blade and then bring your hand back in. So by reaching the arm forwards and then lifting, we're increasing the duration that your other arm is having to hold you, and that shoulder has to be nice and stable. So make sure as you reach your arm forwards that you're really stretching that arm, making it as long as you can, and then bringing it in. Nice and stable through your shoulders. Good. Okay, so as your hand comes down this time, we're going to keep the hands down, and we're going to try and keep our pelvis stable this time. So you're going to take one leg out behind you, both hip bones are pointing down at the mat, and then can you lift that leg without having to twist your pelvis? Lowering that leg back down, bring it all the way back in. Same on the other side, so lengthen the leg out long on the mat, without twisting your pelvis, can you lift that leg? Lower it down and bring it back in. All right, keep going with that. And I know it's a lot to think about, but now can you also notice what's happening with your shoulders? So although we're working the legs, are your shoulders stable or have they kind of collapsed? Have you dropped into your shoulders? Can you still keep those shoulder blades nice and wide and still on your back, making sure that they aren't collapsing in towards your spine? And then once you've got that, so pelvis is nice and still, shoulder blades are nice and stable, you can add opposite arm, opposite leg reaching. Now, if that's too much of a brain challenge for you, that's okay. Or if you want to stay with just doing the legs or the arms, that's okay. It's kind of like patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time, isn't it? So many things to think about that often it's quite difficult to get all the pieces in place. And if you are doing arm and leg, really reach them, make them as long and as far away from each other as you can before you bring them in. It's that opposition stretch, really reach and lengthen arm and leg away. Alright, and if you're doing that, and that's like super easy, let's add a little diagonals this time. So as you reach your arm and leg away, can you take your arm out to the side slightly, leg out to the side slightly, and bring them back in, all the way in. So arm and leg reach forwards, really stretch, and then go out, come back in, and all the way back in. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to rub your head and pat your stomach while you're doing this. Not today. So it's all about stability and stamina. All right. as you come back in this time, come on, off your wrists again. Let's give our wrists a little shake out again. There's a lot of work for your wrists. Just do whatever you need to do with them, whatever feels good. Okay, we're going to lie down on our front next. So when you're ready, come all the way down onto your front. And we're going to have our hands just in front of the shoulders in that kind of stop position. Okay, and then rest your forehead down on the mat. Pubic bone is anchored and tailbone slightly tucked to give us length through the lower back. And then your legs can either be squeezing together or hip width apart, whichever feels good to you. First thing I want you to do is roll your shoulders down away from your ears. So notice if they're sneaking up around your ears and pull them down. And then we're going to lift just the hands off the mat first. Then we're keeping the hands up, we're going to lift the elbows. Keeping the hands and the elbows up, we're going to lift the head, the neck and the chest. We're going to lower the head, neck and chest. We're going to lower the elbows and we're going to lower the hands. We're going to do that again. So lift hands, lift elbows, lift upper body. Lower upper body, lower elbows, lower hands. So we're keeping going here. Making sure that you aren't pressing your rib cage down into the mat as you come up. It's not about how high you come up, it's all about that control. Do one more time. And then push yourself up and back into that rest position again. And let's just give your lower back a little bit of a stretch. Okay, we're going to come back down onto our front again. And we're going to do some hip extension. So you can have your hands now, one hand on top of the other, forehead resting down on your hands. And again, either legs together or hip width apart, but pubic bone anchored and tailbone slightly tucked. It just stops you tilting your pelvis the other way and compressing your low back. So for your hip extension, you're reaching one leg away from you. You're making that leg as long as you can and allowing it to lift out of the mat and then lower down. And the same on the other side. Reach, lengthen the leg and lower down. So all of this work is being done by your hamstrings on your glutes, ideally, rather than your lower back. So try and let your lower back be as relaxed as possible and really focus on using your glutes. And it doesn't matter how high you lift your leg, it's just that we want the focus of the work, glutes and hamstrings, and trying to not allow your pelvis to tilt. So as you lift one leg, if you notice that your pelvis is lifting, then you're coming up too high. Good. And relax your leg down there. From here, we're going to bend one knee. We're going to go into quad stretch now. So reach your hand back to grab your ankle. And you can keep your head resting down. And notice if your hip bones have lifted away from the mat. See if you can allow your hip bones to relax back down into the mat. And just take some deep breaths. Now we're not going to hold it for too long because we're going to come back to this side again in a minute. So release that leg and then let's do the same on the other side. So bend in the knee again, reach your hand back to grab your ankle. Remember, you can always use a strap here if you struggle. If your hip bone is lifting away from the mat, try and release it back down. Don't force it down, but try and think about creating space by reaching your knee away from you and allowing that hip bone to come back down. Okay, and then releasing that leg. Okay, so we're going to grab the ball again that we used at the beginning, so your little tennis ball. Okay, now if it's too much for you with the ball, get rid of the ball. But we're going to put the ball under the quad, okay? So we're going to have it quite high up, so it's not right at the hip crease, but it's kind of towards the top of your thigh on one side. And then again, you're going to bend your knee here. So your leg is pressing down on that ball. Now, if you've got a really hard ball, it will be really intense. You can reach your hand back and grab your ankle. If you just want to have the knee bent, that's fine too. Okay, and then you can hold your leg still, or you can kind of roll your thigh in and out a little bit, which just increases the intensity of that ball in your quad muscle. So remember, you can hold the leg still, you can not hold onto your ankle, you can just play around with this. So again, it's about releasing tension and tightness and looking for those little knots. Maybe move the ball down a little bit. Maybe try it there. There's kind of no rule as in you have to have it 3 inches above your knee or anything like that. You're just exploring your own knots and tension. So I wouldn't have it right on your knee, but above your knee is fine. If you don't like it with the ball, you can go back to your normal quad stretch, of course. So maybe find another position. Maybe do like 3 little spots on your quad on each side. And if you have a ball that has a little bit of give, like a little bit more of a squishy ball, then that's a little bit more gentle. That's quite nice too. If you're using something really hard like a hockey ball, you'll know about that if you've got tight quads. Alright, let's do the other side. So same thing on the other side. Maybe start in the same position as you did on your other side. And again, bending that leg. You can either hold on to the leg or not. Did we do the quad stretch on this side, or did we just go straight? Oh, we did, didn't we? We did do both sides first. I was thinking I'm cheating you out of an exercise then. Okay, so again, you can hold it still, or you can do your rolling side to side. Is it the same on both sides? Just notice. I'm trying to let the rest of your body be as relaxed as you can. So notice if you're holding a lot of tension and it's almost like you're trying to levitate your body away from the mat, try and let yourself be as relaxed as you can. Again, maybe moving the ball down a little bit. Have a little play there. Maybe find one more position. So if you have a lot of tension and tightness in your quads, it can be quite intense. So be gentle, you don't have to spend a long time here. But similarly, if you find it really useful, really beneficial, it's a good one to do. It's actually called quad stripping, which sounds awful. I didn't tell you that before we started, but yeah. Alright, when you finish that one, lower that leg down, just get that ball out for a moment, pop the ball to one side, and let's go back into our rest position again, just to give your back a little bit of a stretch so that you're not creating tension by being in that position for too long. So you can kind of shift your weight side to side in that child's pose if that feels good to you. Just kind of moving around in it a little bit. Maybe take your knees really wide, keep your feet together, and just again changing up the shape of your stretch, just getting deeper into your hips. Okay. And then your last exercise is we're going to use the ball again and we're going to roll out the inner thigh, okay? So get yourself into position first. You're going to bend one knee out to the side and then you're going to place the ball on the inner thigh. Now, if you have a lot of tension in your hips, you might find that your leg is quite far away from the floor, in which case it might be useful to grab a thick book, or if you have a block, you can place the ball onto the block and then place your thigh onto the ball. And you can just hold still here, taking some deep breaths and allowing that ball to sink deeply into the tissues, or you can just gently roll forwards and backwards. So if it's too much pressure for you on the block or on your book, again you can just go back to having it down on the floor, and you can just gently roll that leg in and out, and again just moving the ball into different positions, and you can spend as long here as feels good to you. You're going to do the same on the other side. I'll just do the other side with you. So again, either using a book or a block if you want to, bending that knee out to the side, placing the ball along that inner thigh, and then either holding still or just rolling gently backwards and forwards. And you can kind of move that leg up and down and move your body backwards and forwards, and just getting deep into the tissue and just again releasing any tension there. So I'm going to leave you with that. Feel free to spend as long playing with that as you like, but it is really good to use the ball to release tension. And then you can kind of finish off by rolling out your calves a little bit, and you can just use your hands for this. Maybe do down the sides of your shins and do the inside. You tend to find that there's more tension and tightness along the inside, but just rolling them out, and same on the other side. So I'm just going to leave you with that because you might want to spend a long time doing that, but just have a play. There's nowhere really that you can do any damage. I wouldn't go directly over your knee, and I probably wouldn't go directly behind the knee, but other than that, feel free to have a little massage. Use the ball on your feet again like we did at the start, and see how it feels. Thank you.